So Chris, 10 years ago, maybe some change, you're sitting up, it's 2 a.m. What goes through your mind to say, violate the dress code? Like, how did this get all created?
Accidentally. I mean, if you were to ask me where I'd be 10 years ago, I never would have thought making women's leggings. I mean, my degree's finance. I went for pre-allied health as well at Temple.
So you're in Temple. You're going to school for finance. Was the inception of Violate the Dress Code, did that occur in college or post-college?
Post. I was doing a lot of work for magazines, graphic art, design, and I would just do different logos and designs for other companies and see them making money. And then I had some really cool, well, what I thought was pretty cool at the time, a skull with headphones. And I decided, you know what, just for shits and giggles, let's just make a shirt out of this. You know, a lot of companies were starting to come up on social media. Yeah. I mean, to get started in the business, it was not that expensive. You know, you can start with a few $100s and just wanted to do something on the side just for fun. Never thought it would be.
So you had a job in some type of company, like doing design, but this was like a part-time pleasure?
I was always subcontracted out.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean.
So you worked in design?
Yeah, and then I was primarily making most of my money with photography. And I had friends come up from Alabama. They didn't have the money for the photo shoot. I didn't want to take the risk and buy a screen print machine. So I basically traded a photo shoot for an at-home screen print machine. Really cheap. I mean, it's something you'd use on a Saturday night drunk with friends. We tried it for a month. It really didn't work out. And then we had to basically start paying screen printers. That was the extent of that.
So you're doing subcontractor work. You see this emblem or a skull with headphones. Did that give you an idea for apparel?
Well, it was just a cheap T-shirt with a screen printed.
Okay.
The image was screen printed on that. Started selling it, and it actually did better than we expected. And
you weren't able to actually print at the time, so you leveraged your network, so someone else could do that.
So it started so small, so it was never a risk. I mean, we'd do 25 shirts maybe for the first run, see if it sold. It sold out. Place another order for 50. It sold out, and then kind of just grew exponentially
What year is this?
From there. This was 6 years ago. This March will be 7.
So 7 years. And what was the medium that you were using to get the influence out to
It was
sell
Facebook,
the shirts?
and it was kind of luck from doing the photography. So we had access to a lot of models and influencers.
And now you're at the time doing photography. That was like your trade for what that your colleagues were able to offer, which was the printing.
Yeah. So they wanted the photos. They wanted to be featured in magazines. This was a little bit towards the end of magazines' lifespan. You know, now no one buys magazines ever.
Changed.
Yeah. Maybe if you're going on a flight, but so that was always it. Like, I'll get any photos, videos you want, and just help me model my clothes. Mention it in a post, and that was kind of how it started.
Now, how does someone that goes to school for college for finance at Temple end up becoming a photographer? Was that part-time pleasure that turned to purpose, or how did that?
Completely accidental. Me and an ex, we were both dieting for a show, and I ended up getting a hernia. I was sidelined. And it was one of those things. It was actually with my friend Jared. I couldn't go to the gym, so we sat there on Facebook making fun of each other, photoshopping pictures, like horribly offensive pictures of each other as jokes back and forth. And I really started loving Photoshop.
Wow.
And that's actually where it came from. And when my ex competed, it was one of those things where I'm like, well, I can't do anything. This is horrible. I'm kind of good at drawing and design. If you want, I'll just do you and your friends' photos instead of paying these photographers. So that was my little in. I had no business taking anyone's photos. They were horrible. But I wasn't that weird, creepy guy, so I ended up just getting my foot in the door immediately. Then we were at a bodybuilding show, and it was actually in New York, and I remember it was Dave Palumbo, who worked for Muscular Development at that,
Dave.
So it was for Muscular Development. The contest photographer ended up in a fight with a promoter, got kicked out, and it was just literally, can anyone here take a photo?
No.
Yeah, and
That's
my ex
amazing.
at the time's like, Chris can do it, and I'm like, I can't do this. Are you kidding? It was hard. Like, once again, I did not know what I was
So
doing.
you were going to do a show, have some adversity, a hernia.
Yeah, so I was sidelined.
Kim do it, and then out of a joke with a friend who we actually met through, Jared, who's here in the background right now.
Yeah. Yeah, a complete joke.
You're goofing around, and that turned into a blessing in disguise, it seems, because you got enough competence and confidence to then be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I mean, but I loved it. Like, artwork and drawing and design was a passion. So if you can do something you love, it was never working. I mean, the first few years of the company, I literally was in the shop day and night. If any friends wanted to see me, they'd stop at Wawa, get a coffee and a sandwich, and bring it to me. And I'm sitting there at 2 a.m. screen printing shirts. This was after we stopped using screen printers and bought the actual industrial equipment.
Wow.
And that actually helped. One of the things we were able to do, say we actually sold out of the men's shirt in extra large, we would still keep it on the website and sell it. And being that we had access to all the machines, we would just literally print you that extra large that night and ship it out. So we did it all by hand at first.
Where did the thought process come from to do whatever it takes to succeed? Because that seems like it's
It wasn't whatever it takes to succeed, because, I mean, there are quite a few times if you were to ask me, I'd be like, oh, we're maybe going to do this another few months and then quit. It was just, when you like what you do, you don't mind working. It wasn't like I had to go into a cubicle and I was miserable, the boss treated me like shit. You know, it was just being passionate about it and having the love to do it.
In school, you didn't go to school for design.
No.
You went to school for finance. So did you ever know that you were this creative prior to certain things happening?
No, I was always a little bit of a
blossomed.
weird nerd and into comic books. I mean, I always loved to kind of sketch on the side, but no, I mean, who would have really thought? And the leggings, we never would have thought. It was just following the sales from the beginning.
Because everything started out as just apparel for men with those shirts. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And then when did the pivot occur? We've read some similar literature, like the 4-Hour Workweek we were talking about before this. It's like a lot of entrepreneurs like Tim Ferriss talk about pivots. Like, something occurs, and then you just overcome it, or you don't. So what was it?
It was basically,
was it a mental? What happened?
Just tracking the sales. I mean, we would make everything specifically at first for men. Women would buy the T-shirt, cut the sleeves off, and wear it to the gym. When we'd go look on social media, Instagram, it wasn't men tagging us in, it was primarily women. So then we'd take a few of those designs and put it on a women's tank top, and it would sell out while the men's shirt still sat in inventory, you know? And then it just kept going.
So you were
from
seeing
there.
women buy these shirts and actually cut them up and use them for themselves, and then post. How'd you find this out? They were posting on their Instagram, and you just checked if they were
Instagram,
tagging
Facebook, tagging us in. You know, and the sales at first too were so small, you could literally track them and, oh wow, I know her from Instagram, I know her.
Did you ever ask them and figure out, well, what is going on here? We wanted to do this. How did you figure that out? That's interesting.
Well, like I said, it was just tracking the sales and seeing the men's item just sitting there. And even some of the shirts that were specifically made for men, it was the women buying it.
Huh.
I mean, we're talking our first few shirts. I mean, it was a screaming skull with headphones. And then we had a shirt that literally said, "F***ing dominate." The women's version would sell out constantly as we put it on a tank top. Then,
What year was
because
this?
I'm kind of like just a little bit out there, and I kind of will always do some sort of weird test. We actually made a shirt that said "F*** harder," and the women bought it more than the men.
Oh my God!
It was a thermal, yeah.
And what year was that?
That shirt was maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And then from there, we went to really inexpensive American Apparel leggings. And we would screen print just the name Violate down the leg. And that would sell out immediately. And then at this point in time, you know, our website was a little more advanced and we could check the analytics and see what the best selling, and it was always the leggings. And then one of my friends from high school, who I'm still best friends with, he takes me up to New York Comic Con every year. He was trying to tell me to just go through these manufacturers and have, you know, custom leggings, and I just never wanted to take the risk. Finally, we did, and that was just almost overnight, we became a legging company.
Wow.
You know.
So it started with shirts that were made for men, and you
almost more in the tattoo industry. I mean, they were skulls. They were.
So that was the market.
Yeah.
What you thought.
Yeah, that we tried but failed. Like the actual goal we failed at, but succeeded elsewhere.
Well, it's interesting. I think a lot of people in business would say that the big success was that you saw where the marketplace wanted to go.
What is it called? The 20-80 rule?
Yeah.
Where 20% of your products make up 80% of the sales, and yeah, that was us.
How did you stay so open to letting your business evolve into what it's blossomed to become? Because a lot of people, you know, their ego might get in the way of like, no, this is what I want. You know, this is what I set out to do. Did that ever?
No, not really. I mean, I was always happy to do it because either way, I was passionate about it. You know, it's not wanting to be the best. We're a super small company, but I love it. And there's still a million ways we can improve. You know, you get to meet a lot of cool people doing this. I'm really happy. Wow. I love it. I couldn't imagine going into the business world and, you know.
I was reading on the you know, your site, you know, Violate. Yeah, right. Well, it's interesting. We had such interesting backgrounds, switched almost.
Yeah.
You talk about staying true to yourself, in a sense, like this apparel, these leggings, and Violate the dress code, like what it stands for, staying true to yourself and committing no matter what. Like I remember seeing that. And feeling there's meaning there, and then hearing your story.
You know, just a little tired of everyone trying to be overly fake and happy and fit in, and just be yourself. Huh. You know, I mean that's where it is. I mean, we had a game changer legging that was kind of from my nerdy side, where it literally was to look like a futuristic superhero. And when we released it, I thought, it's different. It's not going to do well. We put it up on sale on the website last year in 2017 for Black Friday. We bought enough inventory that should have lasted 6 months. It sold out that night.
Wow.
I remember sitting there Thanksgiving on the phone with our manufacturer, on the phone with Instagram and Facebook, we can't cancel these ads, and kind of we placed an emergency last-minute expedited order that I had to pay an arm and a leg extra for, and we continued selling that item sold out, just, you know, with a little note at the bottom of the site, like, this is going to ship in 2 weeks. I mean, it typically takes them like 6 weeks to manufacture the items, but that was the game changer for it. It's actually,
which
camera I should even show.
Yeah.
But
now, this legging embodies a superhero, like where it shows.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the muscle. It's a little bit weird and almost, I don't want to say novelty, but so different. You know, I mean, every company has a black pair of leggings, you know, so that's a harder sale, you know.
What was the idea? Where did it come from? This was your creative design side? Like you're just being in purpose?
Yeah, it was just like comic books I've always loved, and it was just different, you know. For us to do, it was actually a nightmare to try to align with the human body, get the kneecap placed. We had to have numerous samples sent, and I remember Lori trying them on in Vegas, and the kneecap was down in the shin, you know, where I drew the button, the highlights and the shadows was not anywhere.
The name Violate the dress code, when did that come about? Did that come about after you started noticing women actually violating the dress code? Because it's so aligned.
I don't even know if I should say
everything.
It was never supposed to be Violate the dress code.
Okay.
I had a list of 100 domain names. Everything's taken.
Okay.
I mean, even different spellings. Even when you're trying to spell a word incorrect on purpose, someone bought that domain name. So Violate the dress code was, I mean, because we did want to be different. We do want people to be themselves, not worry about fitting in. And it just worked, but that was just one of the
another blessing
random
in disguise,
thing, like,
I feel like
2 months down the line that...
Because it's, you know, if you had products that were supposedly for men in that niche, and then you notice that women that are not necessarily in that niche are violating the dress code, literally doing that, you know, embodying that culture, and then you keep running with it, and then you create something from purpose, like this legging that's embodies the superhero, the being different, staying true, and you see it sells the best. You guys are onto something. Like, I'm excited listening to the story.
I'm just going to luck. I can't take any credit for that, honestly.
Something that happened from goofing around online.
I mean, it's been such a learning experience too. Like, I don't know about you, but for me in college, and I think this might be horrible advice for a lot of people. All the mothers out there are going to be very upset with this statement, but if I could go back in time, I never would have went to college. There was not one thing I learned about the business world that they taught. Especially for like an online, especially for like an online business. Social media is killing it. Marketing. I mean, you can start a company nowadays for little to nothing and then make millions off it. Where, back when my dad started, I mean, you were taking out bank loans for a giant plant, a factory, I mean, those.
So originally when you went to school, were you thinking on going down that corporate path like your,
I really did.
Your family?
I really thought I was going to.
What did you think you were going to do?
I thought I was going to sell stocks and mutual funds. That's really what I thought I was going to do. And actually, when 9/11 happened, I had a lot of my money invested in high yield, so high risk.
Yes.
And I lost just about all my money. At the time in college, I remember looking at homes in Holland, just being like, I could buy that right now almost with my savings. I mean, the homes, they were like, I mean, you could get a nice townhome for $110,000. And I didn't want to do it because at the time I'm like, no, I want a nice big single home, like what my dad had. And then I lost all my money and I was like,
That next day, was that a big wake-up call for something? For example, I've sat down with guys, for example, the other day, he owns about $200 million in real estate. Similar story. He lost all his money at 29 years old, and the next day he said he woke up and he walked like he was a millionaire. Okay, now that isn't for everybody.
Yeah.
What was the next day? I remember many times in my life where I've felt like I failed, and I woke up the next day and I said, I'm turning the blinds down, I'm shutting off the lights, and I'm not getting up for a week. That was me.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah. So what was, social media helped me out of a couple of situations with the motivation, but what was you're in school then, when that occurs and the savings is depleted. What's going through your head? Because now you're, an entrepreneur.
I mean, it was
company.
Well, at the time I was still going to go into the business world. I mean, the company came a little bit after that, but I mean, at the time I was still so young and kind of, I don't want to say ignorant to the world, but you're just like, okay, on to the next thing. I'm still alive. I'm still eating.
So you looked at it positive.
Yeah.
Has that always been who you are?
I try. I mean, honestly, things can always go wrong. I mean, with this company, if one of my friends, actually one of our athletes, is going to start a bikini line, and I'll do anything to help them. I don't care if they put me out of business. I mean, of course I would care, but it's like,
that's your...
Yeah, I mean, you name the mistake, we've made it. We've spent thousands on SEO, which was a waste. I mean, there's so many different things we've done, and then there's a few things that we've done right, and there's a few things we've done right that basically an accident, that you just can't replicate again. It was just the perfect storm.
Where the idea of giving when it may not come back, that you can't foresee it.
Well, that still can sting a little bit, yeah, especially when we're dealing with athletes. And we've met some amazing people, amazing people that I will be friends with until the day I die.
How did that come about? Like, working with athletes.
You just saw the need for it on social media. People don't want to follow companies just spam and advertising. So you needed the third parties to come in and actually like the clothing and post organically. And that's why we've always tried to improve the items. I mean, you can really just feel the newer fabric. I mean, it can compete easily with a $120 pair of Lululemon.
It's a serious...
But I mean, this took a few years doing the leggings to even be able to find a manufacturer that can do that.
So with social media, there's pros and cons, right? There's the false representation that we can put out there.
Completely, where everyone has to be overly positive,
Yeah,
and I don't want to say fake. I mean, we're not going to put up drama or when we're going through tough times, but even with the athletes, I'd say we've given away thousands of dollars worth of items, and still to this day, we haven't really had a profitable team. Because you're giving out so many pairs of leggings, and it's few and far between that someone isn't just trying to get a free pair of leggings, where they actually want to post. And then, the people that do help you help back, whether they want photo shoots for themselves, half our team I've done content videos for, their other sponsored companies, and don't care. I don't want anything back. But the people you treat right, you just kind of hope,
It has that in the end come back to you?
I'd say so. Yeah, we've been stabbed in the back a few times, but I think it's always worth it because the people that you do build that relationship and bond, they're friends for life.
And these are pretty serious leggings. Like, there's a lot that's gone into in building this out.
It's not
more
stop.
than just...
We
What's your process? How do you refine and develop and build a product?
It's different because before, when it was men's clothing, okay, I'll just try it on. Oh, where's the placement of this? Okay, this works. Now, it just takes some time. We just switched the seams and the patterns again last night just because I don't think as a company you should ever be happy. You want to make it as high-end as possible, even though you're never going to have a perfect pair of leggings. Some girl might prefer this fabric while another might prefer the more compression, but you just can't ever settle. In my mind, you always want it.
Was it a bit of a culture shock when you went from doing shirts to doing leggings, basically? Because it seems like it's way different, like night and day.
It is different, and with us, because I started, like I said, with Dave Palumbo and muscular development, our athletes were fitness models and bodybuilders. So you'd have a soccer mom see a picture of this girl and be like, well, it looks good on her, but it's not going to look like that on me. It's like, okay, it's spandex. It's going to, it's not like we're making them specifically for bodybuilders. So that's where we're at now because we're pretty well known in the fitness industry, and it's just getting a little bit more mainstream and opening up the demographics so more people can see it.
So you started with that opportunity when they said, hey, who here can do photography?
Yeah, pretty much.
What ended up happening? How did that work out? That seemed to have been your big opportunity. So did you do it that day?
What was that like? Team. Literally went into the trunk of my car, opened up, took out the camera, put the lens on, and I think I exposed all the photos completely wrong. You'll get a kick out of that. But they didn't know. They didn't know until later that night when I had to give them the memory card with it.
So from there...
But I think because I did it for free... That's why I was asked to come back again.
So you were asked.
This guy's really dumb enough to sit here all day and do this for free? Okay, we've got ourselves a new employee.
So you did that for how long? What was that process?
God, the magazines was maybe 4 years, and I did like it. I really liked traveling. Meeting new people. It was just fun.
So full
and
time,
for me too. If you look at the first few photos I did, they were horrible. It was. I almost wish I could message a lot of the people and be like, do you mind just deleting those, taking my name off it, untag me? And even with that, it was trying to learn more and better yourself. Now, even with the post-processing on a photo, like the editing, that takes more time than the photo shoot and more work. And it's like the more you learn, you almost feel like, okay, I can't just do this quickly. This has to look as nice as I can make it, and it takes some time.
So when you were with, what was it, Dave Palumbo and what company?
Yeah, at the time he was with Muscular Development.
Yeah, he's moved around.
And then he went to RX Muscle, so I was with RX Muscle for quite some time.
And that in the process of that, you were building this out?
Towards the end, yeah, when I was with RX is when we started this. And like I said, it was just to sell a few shirts for...
And then, so it turns into leggings. Women are completely, you guys are kicking butt, especially on Instagram, which I want to talk about. What was your process of building out an Instagram that has hundreds of thousands of followers and like you've got multiple accounts and you really understand where to get attention?
It was social media influencers.
So what is a social media influencer for someone that doesn't understand that even? What is it to you? How do you define that?
It's changed because a friend.
Okay.
Just if they're posting and they actually are wearing the item and they're not, hey, go buy this, where it's organic, it's real. They actually are at the gym wearing these because they love them.
Then? Hey, go buy this versus organic. I don't think they understand that. I
are you going to believe if Jared's wearing a shirt, hey, go buy this, this is my company, No, I mean, you might help him out because he's a friend, but when you actually see people wearing it and liking it, and thankfully, like I said, because of the photography, I had a lot of friends that were there for me to help. You know, like one of my friends, Larissa Reyes, she's out in Vegas. She has a crazy following. You know, now she has a very successful business, Protein House. And we would just have fun, you know, drive around all day in Vegas and, oh, let's do this photo shoot for you here. Let's do this. Let's do this video. Oh, here, do you mind putting on this shirt and this pair of leggings? And no, I mean, we all helped each other to do whatever. And it was a lot of the models with the crazy following just helped build the brand.
What is that like? Is it like day in, day out, guerrilla marketing, building relationships, networking?
Not as much as it was 2 years ago, because now we spend more money on Instagram and Facebook advertising than we even do on the products. Like, we'll have a lot of people, I mean, realistically, like I said, the quality of this fabric would be $100 to $120 pair of leggings, but we sell them at $64 because we're not a big brand. You know, not too many people have heard of us, but when people see $65, we get a few comments on Instagram posts like $65, that's a ripoff. And you're like, well, if you really want to look at our numbers, it costs $49 for us to get a sale to see it, because otherwise, for you to even see this and comment, you never would have heard of the brand. But it works. So it's now you're just dealing with the quantity of numbers and sales, where, you know. And
when it comes to, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but from a layman looking in, you know, objectively, it comes to brands. At the end of the day, everyone on the planet has access to the materials. The question is, are they going to put the processes and systems to make it well?
That did take time. I mean, you message any manufacturer and they're going to, oh, this is the best. We have the best quality, you know, and it's years. I mean, I can't tell you how many manufacturers we've had send samples, and you're just let down because you're waiting a month or two for a custom sample. I mean, our stitching and pattern, the way the leggings cut, it's not like it's just a generic pair and they're, you know, putting a little Violate logo, the little V on the leg. I mean, it is completely custom for us, but it's still a work in process. Yeah. There's nothing generic about it, like when we used to put them on American Apparel, where we did screen print on just a generic pair. Now every aspect of it's custom made to basically, you know, anything we kind of want to suggest.
That seems to align with the website where it says, I really liked it, you know, your second pair of skin.
Yeah, to be who you want to be, you know.
Where did that idea come from, of this being a symbol of who you are? Because that isn't necessarily
I've always been that way, and my mom was always that way with us as children. Like, looking back, a few of the things we did was probably embarrassing, but it was who we were. Like, I remember as a little kid walking around with a Michael Jackson jacket with all zippers on. You know, just if that's what you're into now. I mean, like I said, I've always been a little bit of a nerd into comic books and things like that, and just be happy with who you are. Don't go be some fake person because, you know, your friends are doing this.
Yes.
Be happy with, you know, with you. I've always been, I don't want to say an outcast, because I was always friends with every different group of friends in high school, but I was always myself. You know, I never cared, oh, this person's wearing that pair of jeans. Oh, I need to get that. They're wearing these shoes. I need to get that. If I liked it, I would wear it. You know, just be happy with yourself.
What kind of advice would you give, you know, young men, young women now in this generation? I mean, it sounds like you weren't as susceptible to that kind of group thing.
Now I could only imagine just being young and seeing everything on social media where you think life is just fun and I mean, I don't even know. It's got to be.
So your father was in business.
Yeah.
What did he do?
He owned a window company. So I would be out there helping, you know, I did construction for a few summers, even winters, and that's what.
What was the first winter, summer? Like, how old were you?
I was working in junior high.
Okay.
I'd be there during summers at school, but it was the first actual year out of school, working through a winter. I'm like, I'm going to college. Like, it was too cold. I was up on scaffolding doing the big windows up there, and it was a nightmare.
And he had a window company. And your mom, did she work? Or
she was a hairdresser.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you have siblings?
Yeah, a few. I've got 2 brothers and 4 stepsisters.
Do any of them make gloves or socks? Or
No, no, yeah, I'm the weird one. I ended up doing it. Tour accountants. My brother does, I guess, B2B sales. Yeah, so I'm the one that. What are you doing? You know, I'm just.
But the plan was, I find it so interesting because there is such an interest nowadays, especially of entrepreneurs, and where we get our drive or our purpose. And it seems like.
But I wonder how
Like,
many really want to be entrepreneurs. I mean, that's the thing, because you have all these people that are pretty fake. You have like Ty Lopez doing all these paid ads. Oh, you want to invest with us this weekend? See the companies? We're going to make you millions. But the thing is, it's not for everyone. I mean, it will ruin relationships because you're working 7 days a week to start it off. I mean, at any given time, I mean, most people, when they see me on my cell phone, they're like, "You're just wasting time on Instagram." Like, no, customer or our secretary has a question for me. It's just nonstop. And I don't think people want to give up that time. But once you get there, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Some of the positive success stories of the women that have had followings.
We would not be here without our friends on social media.
So tell me about that. Where did that start? What does that mean, your friends on social media? Those are people you're collaborating with?
Kind of like, yeah, what I said before. No one wants to follow a business. You're basically just seeing spam and ads. And we just have an amazing team. Really positive, really, willing to help. And it helps everyone involved nowadays, We can help. If they wanted a specific photo shoot, if they wanted something for their own company, if they wanted help with their personal training business, that's where we were always able to succeed. We weren't some giant company and, here's a monthly salary, just pay for us. It was, hey, you have 156 followers. I mean, Bridget, we literally grew from 156 followers that were maybe people that knew her from high school to like 500,000.
Well, okay, so this is a model, a fitness enthusiast that has been using your apparel, leggings, and you have hoodies and other products. Yeah. They've been using this, and then they had 100 and something followers, and now they have how many?
She's at close to 500,000, like 480 something thousand. Yeah, 1,000. Yeah.
So, was it your intent from day one to over deliver? Like, how did that happen naturally?
No, but it's how I would want to be treated, and I think how everyone should be. And there are a lot of people that used to get mad, like, you go above and beyond for these people, just trying to make them happy, but you do meet so many people that you can establish this lasting relationship with, and it's not like making people happy, there's a limited supply or it's a limited resource. You can treat me well, it doesn't mean you can't go and treat him well tonight, take him out to dinner, whatever. Make people happy.
It's like everyone's running around like it's a limited resource.
Okay, I was nice to you, and I got to treat you like now. That's the reality of it, and it comes back to you. It really does. It really does.
So a lot of these models and influencers that you've collaborated with your products, you've had long relationships.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what are some of the longest relationships, and what are some of those stories?
Since day one.
Yeah.
I mean, really, since day one.
Of the business?
Yeah. Now we're trying to do some things with social media too, where we're bringing on just not anyone, but if you actually like the products, we will start giving commission and things like that, and then
so if someone wears them.
Too. Yeah.
And explain that. Like, what's the idea behind that?
Well, it's more people like to see the reality and honest and truth. It doesn't help us very much if we paid some girl with 100,000 followers to post in our leggings, point to the logo, and say, hey, go buy these. People aren't stupid. They know that it's a paid ad. They really want to see that person that wears it and actually loves it. That's what helps. Like, for example, we have Lori. I mean, every story, she's in our shorts, in our leggings. I mean, she clearly loves it. And
on her Instagram story.
Oh, yeah. I mean, almost. And her sales were the entire, just significant, we'll just say.
So it's
But anything she would want, we would help and do. I mean, we have now Rochelle. Rochelle does a lot with cosplay. Huh. We will take her to New York Comic-Con to help her.
Yeah, what's cosplay?
A ticket to that's like $600 for the weekend. It's like, here, come in. We're going to do whatever you want. She's going to come up. There's another retro toy convention that's comic books as well. Bring her up for that and get her posters that we're going to take the time to shoot, edit. We actually did some photos at a gun range, closed it down, went in, spent a day shooting. It's going to take days to edit. And she's not giving us a penny for it. That's what we do as friends. Like when you have a team, you all work together,
Wow. So actually making it feasible for your influencers to get to events, to be better at these places by over-delivering, editing, design, your time even.
It is hard. It's really hard because as the team grows, I mean, your time's limited.
Yeah.
And I can barely even do the photos anymore, so now we have a great team that can help. I mean, we have photographers, videographers throughout the country. I mean, it's a blessing. It is.
Wow.
And I'm sitting here looking at numbers, analytics, seeing how much we're going to spend on ads. I mean, at any given time on Instagram, we have probably 15 different ads and seeing what performs better and putting a little bit more money into that, just different layers of ads where, we might have a few that are prospecting. And they're the expensive ones where you're kind of not sure, but get them to see the site, and then you hit them with retargeting and different things like that.
And you still make time to do things like this to put yourself out there. So
you have to. Social media for any company, I mean, unless you're already Nike, Reebok, when you're starting up, I just couldn't see any other way but social media.
You mentioned the stories of the influencer, or one in particular. What was her name? She
Which one we've
there's
we've talked about.
She wears the leggings on her story all the time.
Yeah, and she wears it because she loves it, and she has had a giant impact on the cuts, on the seams, on the fat. We're not just, here, take this. What do you think? We want to know the honest truth. What can we do to make this better?
So let's talk about that, right? Like I'm a layman. I don't wear a legging.
Are you sure you don't have a pair under the dress pants?
What makes a good legging that would matter to someone
this
that's
is where
interested?
I failed.
Like, how do they pick?
As a guy, the first pair we made, you can imagine a guy as a designer. I made something that I thought looked good. It was, but the women, it did sell out immediately. But the feedback we had to listen to, it was low rise. They weren't comfortable to squat in it. They weren't comfortable to train, do CrossFit. So we just slowly had to take every little critique into consideration. I mean, I know you're never going to make everyone happy, but you finally get to that point where you can make something and you can pretty much guarantee, even if they have this just crazy build that nothing's going to fit them, they're probably still going to realize, oh, wow, this is really nice quality.
Wow, so that didn't start that way.
Oh, it's been a million failures and then one
today,
win, and we keep trying to build on those little wins.
Someone invests in your products today. Are they getting experience that you can say, I put everything into?
Yeah. I mean, right now I'd be confident that they're going to love it, and they're also going to get something that you'd be paying double for a different brand with the quality of fabric. Yeah. I mean, there's even some things with the aesthetics, like we were talking about how I started in bodybuilding and photography and art, where there's just little things with the aesthetics of the human body that have always bothered me. I don't mean to be spamming and showing things, but they have seams going across the middle of girls' glutes, and it just isn't aesthetically pleasing. It actually gives the illusion of a flatter butt.
Huh.
You can...
Wait, what do you mean? Where on the...
Well, okay.
Can you show?
Where is okay, right here you can see. On the back, I don't know which camera, they'll have seams that cut across the middle of the butt. And when you raise the seams and do different things, it actually just complements the human physique. I mean, it actually does.
And could that affect the photos that women take, the video, how they are perceived in and about the world? Like, it's very important because it is about the aesthetic, isn't it?
And then even this pair here with pockets on the side, it still has our seams that curve up and around, and it doesn't go through the middle of the butt. And these are the ones that are kind of our game changer.
So by it not just something as minor as that makes the biggest difference in visual.
You can go find a million different companies that have leggings with pockets in them. I mean, but we're at the point where, I mean, if we tell our manufacturer, like last night we had a slight little design change because we have some wholesale accounts in Europe, and they've been asking us for, I don't know if you've seen like scrunch butt leggings. They've been out for a while. I mean, they've been on bikinis 10 years, leggings, they've been around forever. I mean, we actually changed the waistband where it goes down to a V, a little bit into the back, and then the scrunch butt on the back that kind of puckers in. Okay. Sometimes like it looks obnoxious and cheesy.
Okay.
And we just played around until we got something that's kind of tasteful but really accentuates the woman's physique. And that's, so I mean, put it this way, this is probably the 12th sample that was sent to us. I mean, it's been about a year we've really knew we were going to come out with a scrunch butt legging. But, I mean, like I said, it takes time.
Research and development.
Constantly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So other than leggings, what are the other products that...
Well, shorts, sports bras, matching tops. Hoodies have always been an amazing seller for us, and that goes back to the men. That went back to, we had the idea, and we actually had to custom make our screen print equipment. When you put the hood up, it actually has the skull on either side, and that just took off. That was
like on the outside that someone's viewing you, they see the skull. Oh, that's so cool, though.
You see, and it was just one of those things, that is what blew up. I remember we went to the Arnold, and people were literally, I mean, fighting over the samples. I mean, this is one, cool. So if you see the side of the hood.
Yeah, if you had it on, it's like you have a skull.
The skull right there. So that was the initial logo. Like I said, that was more men's tattoo industry.
And then it just metamorphosized into...
Thank you, Jared.
Yeah. So...
Jared, he's basically my handler.
Yeah,
I'm just a mess. I'm all
Jared
over the
place.
place.
At some point, maybe
I can't be on time for anything scheduled. I'm too easygoing, too chill, and he's like, "You have to do this now."
Just got to get him in for the shot. So, well, interestingly enough, not only is how Jared is how we met, but it seems though in your story over your hernia when you were goofing around on Facebook 10 years ago,
immature assholes just making fun of each other.
And that turned into photography, which turned into doing the design of the skull, which turned into people using, cutting up the shirt sleeves and then using the gym, women, and then turning into Violate the dress code, which I love that name.
So it's been something we've been passionate about since day one. I mean, it is fun. And when you find something you can make money in a career that you enjoy life, you can go travel. I mean, it's the American dream. It really is.
Yeah, I would say what is your American dream for, like, let's say the next 5 years with this?
It's not even money. It's just to be happy, to not worry, not worry about being in an office, told what to do, just living life, I would actually rather make other people happy, than make more money. That brings me joy. It really does. Showing someone a photo we just did or a video and genuinely seeing them smile, their eyes light up, You just can't pay for that.
How has it? What's the feeling of, let's say, one of the models, the influencers, seeing that they have this passion to get themselves out there. They don't have a following. They don't have help, and you've helped so many of them grow.
Yeah, it can be hard. It's really hard, but it's something.
Why is it worth it?
It really depends. Social media is always changing, but you can build a career. I mean, you build up enough following, whether you're doing personal training. Just think of how many more people see you.
Is that a lot of the influencers? They are personal trainers, or they have businesses?
Most of them are into fitness for sure. I mean, even if it's something as simple as getting sponsors to help with supplements, pay your contest fees, travel. I mean, it's fun. I mean, we shouldn't live life to work and have a little bit of time at night. I think you really need to enjoy your time and your memories while you can. I mean, realistically, what's the point of having $1 million in the bank if you can't go out with your friends on the weekend and have fun and priceless memories? I mean, you can't get that back. We can't get back New Year's 2018. That's done and over with. I mean, it's those memories that mean everything.
Do you see yourself imparting this wisdom and this how you view the that is
Don't do what I did.
The philosopher. I mean, there's a younger crowd of influencers and what do you see, like the late teens, mid 20s? Like what is it? First I should ask what age?
I mean, you have people like Paige Hathaway. I mean, there's a lot of people that are making a lot of money, so it is very hard.
What do you see now, like the change the last 3-4 years as far as who's putting themselves out there as influencers? Is it, are they getting younger and younger that you're associated with?
There's two types. I think you have a few that fall into the trap of, actually maybe we should edit this one out. But,
I love that.
But we're talking about
okay.
when girls seem, they get a lot more engagement from posting something sexy, and then they fall into that trap. Okay, well, here I am posting, in jeans, ready to go out for the night. And then when I posted in that thong, I got 10 times the engagement. So they fall into this trap of just posting that. And realistically, what company's going to want to align with you?
So do you see an added bonus of working with your company is the wisdom of like knowing what to post and how to actually build a brand that lasts? Because it seems like you guys have been in this for long enough to do so.
We've done enough to kind of know what works and what doesn't. So I mean, it is a nice little asset to have. I mean, now we're at the point where we have weekly calls with Instagram, Facebook. I mean, we have some pretty big people reaching out to us. I mean, like you said, what makes you happy? I mean, I'm always shocked when I do go through Instagram and see, oh, wow, that's actually a customer? Wow. I've been a fan of them for years, I mean, that is, wow, that's, something you just can't pay for.
That's powerful.
That happens,
Why? Let's say that, I'm a consumer. Why am I picking you guys versus Lululemon, right?
Well, the simple answer, it's half the cost at the same. I mean, you feel the fabric. It's very, very nice. It took us so long to actually acquire and get the fabric sourced to make. But I mean, the time and the passion that we put into this, I mean, it's everything to us. I mean, we're not going to skimp. We're not going to chintz. If we can make something nicer, we do. I mean, we're just not going to settle ever. Second the styles change, we're going to try something new, do something. Any input and critiques we get, we really listen. We're still that small of a company where we can listen to everyone's input and try to improve everything, Where a lot of the bigger companies, they don't care if you buy something and hate it and returned it. They're like, okay,
Yeah, listening to your story, it seems like from day one you were listening.
You have to, especially as a small company.
Or did you just fall
No,
into
but
that?
I think you realize to succeed, you have to. I mean, and don't get me wrong, you take a lot of bad advice too. We've spent thousands trying to market that we're just a gigantic waste. And then there's a few things that always end up helping. I mean, we put a ton into search engine optimization, just a ton into a lot of things that didn't work. And we spoke about like Tim Ferriss earlier.
Yeah, the 4-hour
where he always said, like, one of the things we never did, we never took gigantic risks, like hundreds of $1,000 loans that could potentially bankrupt us. We always grew and reinvested the money, where even if we did take a risk, it wasn't going to put us out of business. Okay, we're just going to get rid of that item. It's done. Even with some bigger social media influencers, the reality of it is it has helped a lot, but I was always so afraid to put more money into flights, photographers, travel, paying athletes, because what if it failed? But the reality of it is, if you don't take those risks, and if it did fail, we're still going to have food on the plate. We're still going to have a roof over our head. What is the worst that can happen?
Asking that question.
Realistically, yeah, what is the worst thing that can happen? And it's really not that bad. You're still going to be alive the next day to try something new.
Who introduced you to that book, The 4-Hour Workweek?
I think a high school friend, Kevin Ireland, actually, on Facebook. I think I maybe made a little post and it was recommended. Yeah. I'm slightly illiterate, but I did make it through reading the book, and it was actually really helpful.
It was a big change. Have you thought more and more into personal development and getting involved into learning on those types of things? being that impacted you so much.
No,
in a
I
positive
would
way.
love to. There's so much I would love to do, and it's just time. You know, it really is. But I think that can help a business and stay positive and motivated and driven is everything. If you don't have the motivation or passion to do it, you're going to quit and be a failure. Like, I mean, we spoke earlier how everyone wants to be an entrepreneur because, I mean, there are a lot like Gary Vee, you know, Tyler, who just make it seem like it's so easy, but the reality of it is it's not. It's not for everyone. But if you're passionate about it, you can make it happen. I mean, it took us some years and some time, but it was worth it.
Okay, so let's say you're going to disconnect and not think about business. Is that possible for you?
And not think about business.
This business?
No, it's not.
Welcome to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's not possible. Not at all. I couldn't imagine not thinking about it, you know, or trying to make it better.
That comes from a love and a purpose, a passion, would you say?
Yeah. It's like a baby. You know, it's like your baby, trying to grow it.
Everything that you've learned over the last like 10 years building out this really, really cool brand, I think at least, and I know you obviously do. Yeah. If you were to go back to when you were goofing around and doing those Photoshop pictures with Jared, what would you tell yourself if you had like a minute?
Maybe take those risks a little sooner. Because there were a lot that, like I said, were not that big risks. They wouldn't have put us under. But I wanted to slowly do it step by step just so it wouldn't go bankrupt. We wouldn't make any gigantic mistake that would close the doors. I mean, I really would have, I don't want to say tried harder because we never stopped trying, but just don't be afraid. Really just don't be afraid, you know?
It's powerful. I want to talk about shout-outs, your influencers. You do a lot of these shout-outs. What's the idea behind shouting out? What's the idea behind putting out?
Well, like we were saying, people don't want to see spam. They don't want to see ads. So you benefit more from growing your own influencers and helping them because they're the people who are actually wearing it in the gym, actually going to the park and being seen in your leggings. So we try our best, and we do put more time and effort into the social media team and influencers than our own social media. That's just something that, I mean,
so actually invest into the team and your energy into them and their social media.
Like I said, we would be a failure without them. Especially now that we're not men's shirts anymore and we're women's leggings. I'm clearly not going to be wearing them going for a jog down the street, you know.
So can we talk about some of these influencers? We'll tag them in the video. Who are some of your people on your team that you work with?
We've had Bridget forever, and actually she's local. She lives right up the street from me, which is kind of funny, but we actually have known her from the gym for quite some time. Huh. Bridget is very shy. She's going to hate me for saying this. The sweetest, nicest girl.
We'll have to tag her on here on Instagram. Right?
But she would always be pointed out to us at the gym, different girls. And we actually all went out one night for the UFC to a bar. And my friend Mike's girlfriend and her friends were all talking about this girl who they either thought was Russian or Italian, but she has the perfect body. She's so marketable. I need to get her to wear the leggings. And finally, I think it was actually like 2 days later, I happened to see her at the gym. She was on the Stairmaster, headphones on, and I just went walking up feeling completely embarrassed because any girl you approach in the gym is probably thinking you're just hitting on them. So I think the last thing she thought was I was going to approach her with any sort of business idea or collaboration. And I'm just like, hey, I have a company, Violate the Dress Code. We'd like you to be one of our local models, you know? And she just looked horrified. I think she assumed I was probably lying. Who knows? But I mean, she had 157 followers when we met her. And I mean, she's very likable, and now she's at, 500,000. But I mean, we have that relationship. She could call me up. Hey, can you go meet me up at the college and we'll go do some photos? Yeah, let's go do it,
So that grassroots building relationships and then putting, time, money, energy into influencers into your collaborators and focusing on their social media to grow them has been how you've done it.
Yeah. And we have a lot of athletes now. I mean, if you look at the people tagging us in, it's pretty significant.
Of all of the people that you've, let's say, of all of the people you've met, the influence you've worked with, the lives that you've touched in this capacity, helping people be themselves, what's the funniest story that's ever happened?
Jeez.
You probably have a million stories.
Yeah, there's a million.
That we can talk about. There's got to be something.
I don't even know what would be funny. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of funny ones. Kind of more embarrassing for the people, so we might have to leave names out.
Names are not involved.
We happened to be on a little back road in the middle of nowhere, not even near a city, and jumped over a little guardrail. She's almost in the river, just standing there, dressed up as Link from Legend of Zelda. And these cars kept driving by, and then we noticed the same car again. And then someone was, "You're Rochelle Carter, aren't you?" You know, it's pretty cool when the people get recognized. I mean, that actually makes you really happy when, you know, whether they're just putting a smile on someone's face.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like these people are like The Rock or Beyonce, but it's just funny how people get known and stop like, "Hey, wait, I know you." You know?
So that she was dressed up like Zelda in a river for a photo shoot, and some random car noticed her from Instagram.
Yeah.
That's just a whole mind
it's pretty cool.
blown from the fact that any person in the world can light another person's day up using their social
and it's
media.
Usually always it's positive all the time. Even when the girl is known for her physique, it's just inspiring to other women. And we're always walking, and you know, I'm trying to pretend like I'm the boss, and they just ignore me, don't care. Like, what do you do for legs? How do you get your butt to look like that? I'm just like, oh geez, how many times I have to hear this a day? You know, this is horrible. Or we can be doing photo shoots, and it's never been weird though, but guys will come up and they're always so respectful, like, "Oh my God, can I have a photo with you?" We were doing a photo shoot on South Street, and a guy actually wanted to introduce his daughter to our models.
Wow.
Just, you know, to inspire them because they were strong, confident women.
Yeah.
Not, you know,
Wow.
just insecure.
I think one time I went up to a woman in Fishtown that I thought I knew her from Instagram, and I didn't. It wasn't her. No, like she had red hair with all the tattoos, and I was like, "This is you."
Trying
And
to
she's
get
like,
my number.
"Yes, it was terrible. I'll never do it again." It's not the right
it happens
culture.
a lot every time we go into South Street, and everybody wants their photos with the girls.
And kids,
They just
they look up to them, asking them if they're superheroes.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
they all just ignore me. It's sad.
So the cosplay, that is when people create different skin, right? Like you would say.
Yeah, like
right?
a custom outfit,
Custom
like
outfit.
whether it's armor, basically to be a character from movies, anime, comic books. But it's pretty big when you go up to New York Comic Con. It's actually pretty crazy. I mean, when you get into the city and you just see from blocks away people dressed up, you know, walking in. But it's a really cool atmosphere.
How
really
involved
positive.
is your company with that? Are you because you have
I
superhero
love it myself.
stuff.
Yeah, we go up and we do have superhero stuff. We've been there every year. We go to the Philadelphia Comic Con. I just actually love the artwork and meeting the artists. I actually met one of my favorite artists, Jamie Tyndall, this year, and I gave him hundreds.
Wow.
For artwork that is still in my drawer. Just,
But it meant something.
Yeah, because I mean, I want to support this guy. I love his work. It's amazing.
That's interesting. Is that you know you're a creator. You're creating for others. At the same time, there's people that you look up to that are creators for you.
Even some of our competitors. I mean, you can't hate on people. You can't be jealous if someone's succeeding. You just can't be negative. I mean, that's the reality. If you're negative, I think you're just in a state of depression. I don't know. I mean, but I always want the best for everyone.
Mic drop.
Mike's right.
No, so it's 2019. What is 2019 going to look like for you guys?
Well, we're actually going to do a little rebranding where now we really feel we have some of the highest quality fabric money can get. So we're going to try to market the fact, even to our existing customers, that haven't tried this yet, or even some of our older items as it sells out, we're going to have that fabric replaced now. So we're probably going to have a significant sale rebranding just to give us a try.
Wow.
To try us on, compare us to any other company you want,
So all this research and development, all these different makes and models and investment, a lot has gone into getting something that you can consider as good as possible. Great. It's great. And this is your year where you want to weigh it against anybody.
Yeah.
That's
So
huge.
I
Congratulations.
think the first few months we're probably not going to make much of a profit because with the cost of advertising and the products, it's going to, end up coming at cost. But yeah, I'm very confident once people try them on, they're going to be repeat customers.
So investing into the result, into the experience.
The brand, and just to get the brand out there
everything
more.
about it.
Yeah, I'm really, so that would be one of the things if you told us starting off, just sell this at cost. And no, I'm confident to take that risk right now.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, this was awesome.